AM 1220, KHTS, hometownstation.com. I am T here with Dr. Proctor. It's an hour where we get to peek over medical professionals' shoulders to see what is going on, exactly what they are doing. Our topic today is the flu, and as I like to say, its fancy name, what its parents call it when it's angry, is influenza. Influenza, which makes it sound a lot more important and certainly frightening, but it is. It's the flu to all of us, and as I've said to our guest, Vicki Longquich, who's a PA who has been taking care of my family's health and my own well-being for many, many, many years, is someone that we've gone to, and I told her, I threw myself under the bus. I've never had a flu shot. And my first question is, Vicki, as we go through, the flu is scary. It's a viral infection. It affects the respiratory system, nose, throat, lungs. It affects everyone. Everyone is at risk. However, high risk is a totally different situation. But with the flu, what makes it not the common cold, which is just sore throat, sneezing, runny nose, and maybe a little bit of a temperature, colds have a gradual onset, not suddenly like the flu, and a cold can be nagging and irritating, but with the flu, a person feels much more miserable, like they've been hit by a train, high fever, fatigue, weakness, achy muscles, chills, sweats, headache, cough, congestion, sore throat. And we have to be very honest with ourselves about all the symptoms that we have before we go to a medical professional and say, you know what, I think I have the flu. Because if it's just a cold, stay home.
Exactly.
Stay home, rest, fluids, over-the-counter pain relievers, the things that you normally take for a cold. If you have to go in because you think you have the flu, that's not a bad thing, because one, there's a test for it, and two, there's an antiviral drug for the flu.
There are actually two antiviral drugs that are available. One is under much greater use than the other. Tamiflu is an antiviral that's been developed for type A and type B flu. And if it started within 48 hours, it can definitely shorten the length of time that the flu will affect you.
And we don't have time for it. We don't even have time to wait for a file to download on our computer anymore. We don't have time to wait to be sick. So the idea that there might be a medication that shortens that so we can get back to work is really important.
It is, because the economic impact on the flu, there have been studies done, the economic impact on the flu on businesses with loss of time, or you don't want to not go to work, so you go to work and now you've spread it to all your neighbors, and now you've got half the office out.
Yeah, there's a couple of spots out right now where the guy goes, yeah, I come into work no matter what. And it's like, no, stay home. Nobody wants you.
Exactly.
Nobody wants, because here's the other thing. The flu is contagious before you know it. Before you even know it.
Yes.
And that's a bad thing.
Right. And that's one of the ways it's spread. There's been a force... For years, some companies have offered free flu shots to their employees. There's a push now for long-term care facilities to be well vaccinated, because you have the much higher risk patients who are there and the staff that cares for them. As a medical professional, I've been getting my flu shot for years because I don't want to put my patients at risk. Have I gotten the flu? Yes.
Yes, but to a lesser degree. And the other thing is, I want to cover a couple of fallacies about the flu shot. First of all, again, I've told you, I've not done it because I was one of those people who thought, I don't know if I want to do this, and they may not have the right vaccine. But the body, even when you get the flu or you get the flu vaccine, you build up antibodies to that strain, and it's not a bad thing. You might as well do it. And again, tell me the odds. What were we?
Well, last year our odds were lower. We didn't do so well. This year the expectation is it'll be a much better match. And so I think your odds are better. So if we have even 60% coverage, that means 40% of the times we hit it.
That's good for me, because in Vegas, if I'm not a gambling person, but if I was, I think I like those numbers. That works for me. I could or could not, and chances are I'm probably going to walk away with something that's a bonus. So getting the flu shot is good. It builds up the antibodies to the strain. I am also, and I said it earlier, I'm a pansy. I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I'm not a big fan of pain. Now, if I go in for my flu shot, walk me through just the idea. First of all, I know you can get your flu shot anywhere. I can come to you. I can go to the medical professionals. I can go to my pharmacy.
Exactly.
Because the very nice, handsome pharmacist always looks at me and says, "Oh, did you get your flu shot?" It's like, okay, well, I could get my flu shot from you, but I don't really know what to expect. What do I expect when I get my flu shot?
Well, there's a couple people who can't have the flu shot. If you have an allergy to eggs, because the flu vaccine is
eggs.
Well, it's grown on eggs. Yes, it's grown on eggs. So if you have a severe egg allergy, you can't do it.
Okay.
But most people can, but there are some guidelines with that. What's going to happen is we're going to take your temperature to make sure you don't have a fever now.
Okay.
Because if you have a fever, you might be fighting something, and so your body may not create the antibodies as well.
Okay.
And with the flu vaccine that we're giving, it's a quadvalent, and it's what we call an inactivated vaccine. So we are not giving you the flu. We are not giving you the flu bug.
That's the other fallacy I kind of wanted to put to rest is people always say, I'm going to get the flu because they're giving me the flu. It's right there in the bottle.
Nope. It's inactivated. So we've made it to where it's not one that can replicate, but that your body can recognize and create the antibodies to.
So it's basically like sending in a little soldier saying, I'm going to be on guard for you in the event that you get hit by the flu. And man, if you do, I'm going to start creating some soldiers, on your behalf.
Well, actually, it's even better than that. He brings the soldiers to put a line of defense.
This is all very good.
So this is very good. So what we're hoping is that
he's just an off-duty soldier. He's inactive.
But he's got his buds with him.
Yeah, good. Super. This is good.
Because we know how well off-duty soldiers can do. Think of France.
So, yes. Yes, those boys did a lovely thing on the train. So, okay, if you're allergic to eggs, no flu shot for you. Mm-hmm. And if you have a fever, no flu shot for you.
Not that day.
Not the day you have to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you basically, it's in my shoulder?
Yeah, we give it in the arm.
Because I worry some shots, Vicki. I know.
I know. This is not a drop trowel.
And I'm not going to do that in front of the handsome pharmacist. So now.
Well, see, but then that's where you see me.
Okay, so it's the flu shot's in the shoulder.
It is in the arm. It's in the larger muscle of the arm.
Okay.
It's a half a cc, so it's a very small amount of fluid.
Okay.
There's a little discomfort at the time you get it, and a little sore arm afterwards. That's the biggest reaction, is what we call site irritation,
okay,
right where it was given.
You could take an over-the-counter something
Tylenol
you would
or
take for
Advil.
a headache, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right. So no big deal there.
No big deal.
And better for the long-term benefits. Exactly. Now, we've talked about who can't get it. We've also talked about who's at risk. Again, it's everyone. But those at high risk are young children under 5, especially under the age of 2, senior citizens, and again, even though the calendar may say 65 and up, you take that with a grain of salt.
Right.
You might be of a certain age where, I need to get that flu shot. Pregnant women, people with weakened immune systems, people with chronic illnesses, again, diabetes, asthma, kidney disease, heart disease, etc., obesity, residents in care facilities. But you mentioned another subgroup that we really need to concentrate on.
Think of our college students who have gone off and are now living maybe for the first time in a dorm where they've got very close facilities. They're used to having their own room. Meningitis, actually, one of the groups that it protects the best against are college-age freshmen. And that was the greatest response when we started giving meningitis vaccine. Because they are not necessarily paying attention to their daily self-care. They're studying late. Yes, exactly. They're studying late. They are, working on little sleep.
Probably not a great diet. So the immune system is really not at its
and they're
optimum.
under stress.
Okay.
And so let's be sure that we vaccinate them when they come home for their Thanksgiving breaks.
Yeah.
If they don't do it before they leave school. Yeah.
Before you get the gift of family and your turkey, you're going to get a shot.
Come on, let's get a flu shot.
That's right. Okay, so, and then in addition to the flu shot now, let's talk about prevention.
Okay.
Oh, you hear it every day. You hear it every day. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. People who are contagious, first of all, let's just talk about the idea that they often don't know it. They can be the carrier. They haven't exhibited symptoms. And the minute that coworker comes in, and they might not be feeling 100%, they don't know what it is. They don't know yet it's the flu. They're contagious.
Right. And so good hand washing.
Because this virus before they even notice symptoms, is being passed. Flu virus is airborne.
Airborne, it's droplets. So when they sneeze, when they cough,
When they talk.
when they talk.
Because people don't always realize when you exhale, there's
spray.
There's
There's spray.
Even if you don't always see it.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be the funny joke told. It still happens. Okay, so even when they talk, they're transferring this virus not just in the air to you, but to objects, because people do it all the time. You touch, your nose itches. Maybe it is before you know you have symptoms. You have...
And then you grab the handle of the door, you grab a fork and leave it down. There's
the
all sorts of ways.
microwave, the coffee pot, the bathroom door, before they ever go in to wash their hands.
Exactly.
It's a perfect place for, and people shake hands. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have people through here all day, and I'm shaking hands with people, and that they're passing me their cooties. It happens.
It's cute. When patients come in not feeling well, a goodly number, I go to shake their hand. I've done that for 20-some years. They go, no, let's not, because I'm sick and I don't want to get you sick. And I go,
good point.
Thank you for caring for me. I appreciate it.
But it's a reaction that we do. It's a
Yes.
social response that we have.
So teach your kids the Dracula cough or the Dracula sneeze, where they put it onto their elbow, or pull up your shirt collar, things like that, because clothes are washable.
And I've seen people do the Dracula sneeze, Vicki, where the arm is up above your nose, and it's like, no, sneeze right into your elbow. Mom doesn't mind if she has to wash that.
Right, exactly. It's
Nobody
okay.
cares. It's
Exactly.
just sneeze into your clothing. Not just because I've seen it where it's, oh yeah, that didn't work the way you thought. So washing your hands, number one. Now I've heard the story told you should sing happy birthday twice. So
That's a nice long wash.
right? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, whatever. Happy birthday to you. One more time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're done.
You're done.
And
rinse well.
Just any soap will do.
Any soap will do.
Any soap will do.
Yeah, we're just looking more at the mechanical movement
Okay.
of getting things, washing it off.
Avoiding crowds
Avoiding crowds.
because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you cannot go to the concert, or you can go to a later one, or you could, avoid the crowds. And then here's the other thing. If you are infected, everyone else is trying to prevent it. You can prevent the spread of it. Just stay home for 24 hours if you develop a fever.
Yes.
That's the magic number.
Until after you're fever-free for 24 hours. That is the magic number.
So unlike the flu not caring about the calendar, the fever cares about the clock.
Yes, it does.
24 hours.
24 hours, and you lower your risk. Now, if you are still coughing, you can spread a lot more than flu, too, because we have bacteria all over. So we have a box of masks by the front desk, and when people are signing in, if they're coughing or think they have the flu, we ask them to put on a mask while they're waiting.
I've been to the hospital to visit people, and there's a sign right there with a box of masks. If you think you might have the flu, wear the mask. And I have family members who are like, you know what? I don't care if I have the flu or not. I'm wearing the mask because they might be sick.
They might be sick, and I'd
Right.
rather not get it.
Right.
Exactly.
And we should make masks fashionable. Put kitty whiskers, whatever it takes.
Something fun.
Something fun, so that we don't feel so strangely. I don't know why that is that we
And it's a very cultural thing here in the U.S. where
because
if
I've
you
seen
go
it
to
in other countries.
Other countries, masks are very commonplace.
Not a big deal. People
Yeah.
are on the subway all day long wearing their masks because they just don't want to get sick. And again, it's a productivity thing where they don't want to miss work. They don't want to, and not just money. Mommy, if you're listening, you are probably even more important than the person collecting the paycheck, because if mommy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Well, and if mommy doesn't run, nothing runs in the house.
Nothing. Now, again, unfortunately, new strains do appear constantly because the flu is a tricky minx, and it does make them hard to fight. Nonetheless, each time you get the flu, you build up antibodies. Having the flu shot just makes sense because every time you're subjected to a strain, you build up antibodies.
Exactly.
Which might lessen the severity of symptoms because you might still get it, but then you're not going to be out for 6-8 days. You're going to, shorten that maybe by half.
And if we can shorten it by half, we're shortening our exposure. We're shortening the longer that our body is at risk and having to fight that. We're shortening the amount of damage to our body with, how our kidneys are working and keeping hydrated. So it's a good thing.
Well, and again, the high risk groups, they're the ones it's really frightening to think at what the flu can turn into.
Exactly. And that's why it's really important to vaccinate that group. Vaccines are available now, so go ahead and start getting them. We'll see an increase. There's actually a national influenza vaccine week that the CDC puts on the date of December 6th to 12th, but I like to have mine before then.
Get it early because
Yeah.
it's better. I mean, once it's on board, it's on board.
Right.
Now that's a question: should there be a booster or follow up if you get it in? Say, where are we now? September 20.
You know, they looked at studies to see if you got it early in the season and then happened to get the flu later, should you have gotten a booster? And they didn't see much improvement by doing a booster. Now, kids who have never had an influenza vaccine, they are automatically given a half dose 2 weeks apart or 4 weeks apart, because kids' immune systems work a little differently.
Right.
And so the first time that they have a flu vaccine, they're given a half vaccine and then another one in
And then
4
they get
weeks, so
later.
that they automatically get the booster.
Gives the body a chance to see what's coming in.
Exactly.
Now, we talked about washing your hands. There's a big thing right now about the antibacterial. Okay, the difference between antibacterial soap and soap. But this is not, and I don't want people to be confused, just the antibacterial gel.
Right, exactly.
Because I know I've heard already some people say, "Oh, it doesn't help." It's like, wait, no. They're talking about the soap.
Yes.
There's no difference in the actual effect on germs between soap and antibacterial soap. However, that antibacterial gel or foam is absolutely as good as washing your hands for the most part. If you don't have anything else.
If you have nothing else, it's a great way to go. In our practice, we have both the antibacterial gel and antibacterial soap. And some of our providers will use the gel because their hands get so dry with the soap. I'm old school. I still wash my hands because I just feel like I'm rubbing the germs around, but that's personal preference. The studies are not valid on either one. They just say
it's the
either
old
one.
animated commercials with the germs. You actually visualize them going down the drain.
Yes, exactly. What can I say? I'm old. But both methods are appropriate. But you just have to clean your hands.
All right. So we've talked again with Vicky. We're talking with Vicky Longquich, who is a PA. We're talking about the flu, or its more formal name, influenza, which makes it much scarier. Sometimes I think we should go back to calling it that. We've talked about prevention. We've talked about who's at risk and the difference between the cold and the flu symptoms, because they are very different, and you can treat them now almost the same, because treatment for the flu is pretty much rest, over-the-counter pain relievers, because that muscle ache that comes with the flu that doesn't accompany a cold is, I mean, you can feel like crud, but for the most part, the flu, it just takes you down. And pain relievers, rest fluid pain, over-the-counter pain relievers, and then we talked about the antiviral drug, which was Tamiflu, and the second one is
The other was
Relenza.
Relenza. And Relenza is
Not
limited
easy
with
to
certain
say.
people. Yes, exactly. Is limited to some people. If you have underlying asthma or if you have any bronchospasm, you can't use Relenza because it's an inhaled medication.
Okay.
So it can
And
sometimes...
then Tamiflu is not
It's a tablet or a liquid.
All right, so Relenza is something that is inhaled, and Tamiflu is a liquid or tablet that's relatively easy. Now, what would be the difference in whether or not a doctor is there much difference between the two drugs?
It depends on what their preference is. I mean, I don't use Relenza that much because when people come in with the flu, very often they have a bronchospasm, and so it's like, okay, well, that cuts my options there.
Right.
Both of them can be used preventative, and so if you have a child who maybe isn't so good at swallowing meds and things like that, you might use that.
Can you flavor it?
You can flavor some of the stuff, the liquid. You can't flavor the spray.
I told you I'm a pansy.
I know. We make you small pills.
Yes, it'll make me small pills. So, but again, it's relatively easy to be aware of it, to prevent it, but we have to be proactive.
Exactly.
Because this is what got people in trouble once upon a time with the flu, is that they weren't proactive, they weren't educated about it, they didn't know. We do know now, and we can take steps. And I think that one of the most important things, besides the washing of the hands, is just stay home if you're sick.
Stay home and rest, and
the
maybe
long term
look at
isn't worth it.
maybe look at our overscheduled days and be sure that leading into flu season that we're getting enough rest, so we're not as much at risk.
And our immune systems are a little
strong.
Yeah. Again, this is Dr. Proctor. We're talking with Vicki Longquich, who's a PA. She's been talking to us about the flu. We've talked about what it is, what to do for it, and when we come back, we'll do a little bit of a wrap-up. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. AM 1220 KHTS, hometownstation.com. I am T. I'm here with Dr. Proctor, which is a show that gives us the opportunity to peek over the shoulder of doctors and medical professionals to sort of see exactly what they're up to and what they can do for us, and hopefully take a little bit of the mystification sometimes out of the medical field so that we can be our own best health advocates. With me today, I have Vicki Longquich, who is a PA over at the doctor's office on Lyons Avenue. And again, Vicki, thank you so much for coming in today and talking to me about the flu. And again, I'm of the belief we should start calling it influenza because it does give it the
weight that it deserves.
Absolutely, because the flu is one of the illnesses that can spread so quickly, so fiercely,
yes,
and especially for our population who is at high risk. If you would like to learn more and you would like to get your flu shot, as I am going to do,
I'll look forward to seeing you pretty soon.
And now, look, I'm accountable because I've said it in public.
There is actually a flu vaccine pledge you can sign with the CDC, so knowing you'll get your flu vaccine. So
right now, that's that's too much for me. But I do plan to get the flu vaccine this year because it is so critical. It is so important. And again, as you mentioned at the very beginning of the show, it takes a village, but it also takes a village to get us wickedly sick.
It does.
And if we can prevent it by the washing of our hands, staying home when we're sick, avoiding crowds,
covering your mouth and nose,
and please cover it. Sneeze and cough right into your fabric there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go under the arm. That's bad form. Get your flu shot too. And again, you can get it at your doctor's office. You can get it at the pharmacies now are offering it. It's something we should all be doing. Vicki, thank you again for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again. I'm going to have you as a guest on Dr. Proctor in the future. So thank you.
Thanks, T.
You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.